Hello and welcome. This is Maria Lucia Romero, your host. So, welcome back to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. And today we are going to talk about something everyone is a little bit worried about, and is linting. So, as you will see, probably all the impressions have been going down, all the algorithms have been changed. And I think many people feeling a little bit frustrated, or at least this is my case and the case of my clients as well. But here is the truth. This is not really about linting. I think it is about what happened when your entire visibility strategy depends on only one platform. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I want to explain you what is currently going on with linting, why it's matter, and how to protect yourself from this shift by using the methodology that I have created, that is the power wheel. I have been talking about that since the last episode and now in the newsletters as well, because I think it's important to keep in consideration how we see the whole thing, a more holistic view about our communication and about how we are appearing outside. And why? Because when you communicate clearly across these multiple touch points, you really don't panic every time when this kind of things happen, or when a feed slow down. What is this happening right now on LinkedIn? So, and I will share some of my own story and the lessons from my clients, and even something I learned recently from a peer who just hit not just 200 or 300, but 1,000 podcast episodes. So I have been so proud saying I have been arriving to more than 100 already. And seeing that peer make me really feel inspired. And that is basically something that at some point I will arrive. And that milestones remind me of the importance of the little things we tend to forget when we are rushing. So, by the end of this conversation, you will understand what is happening on LinkedIn right now, why less can be more, and how to use the power wheel to create this clarity and momentum that doesn't depend only in the algorithm and only in one thing. So let's go by part. So let's start off what is really happening, because I think this is a matter of interest, in the sense that I have been researching a lot. I have been speaking with many people around, trying to understand what is happening. And I have been found many commonalities that are coming here to show us what is happening and what we can do to really start to coping with that. And when I say coping with that, is we cannot change that. So the things that you cannot change is very important for you to really find the way to manage. So let's start with the obvious question, and is what is going on with LinkedIn, right? So in the past months, it went two big shifts that happened. LinkedIn is moving towards pay to play right now. So more of the features are being put behind the premium account. That means that if you want to take full advantage of the platform, you will eventually need to invest money. And the algorithm changed. Yes, the algorithm changed. And before, the game was actually how you perform in the first hour, and then it was done. Or at least it was how I was doing it, how my clients was doing it. And when we measure results, we were realizing how that will really building on a good strategy for LinkedIn. And now it is about relevance. So what LinkedIn is doing, they are showing the post every day, uh, but not in the same way that before. So I am, for example, receiving posts weeks later. And actually, when I have been researching at that time, if you are announcing an event or these kind of things, if you are receiving, or your network close to you are receiving in 2 weeks after that, what is happening? So it's not having actually the results and based on the purpose that we want to achieve. So that means all the impressions drop, at least mine, but a useful post can keep working for longer. So what is the result at the end? Many people feel a bit lost related with that, and they are chasing, or continue chasing the impressions and the likes, and actually LinkedIn is quietly saying that they are looking for something depth. They want relevance, they want trust, so they are looking for more value into the content that we are putting outside. So in the moment that we create this post, actually the fact to having a strategy behind that, and not just posting because we need to post and we need to collect likes. So all these vanity metrics are really something that LinkedIn is not having anymore as a part of the algorithm. And this is important to understand. So the challenge now is not just surviving this shift. The challenge now is making sure your brand is strong enough that the algorithm doesn't decide your visibility. And I am going to tell you a story that I have been telling recently, and it's about something very honest from my side, actually, because some days I'm feeling like a duck. Yeah, you heard well, a dog, the animal. And that what that means, I'm feeling calm and graceful on the surface. So everything looks okay. But underneath, I'm paddling like crazy. And when I say that, is because I'm running a business, I'm serving clients, I'm building the Brilliantly Branded Academy, I'm recording the podcast, I'm managing a team. And that ended up being a lot. And one of those days is really tempting to believe that posting more, hustling more will really solve everything, but it doesn't. And what keeps me going is not the noise, is actually the clarity that I am putting into the communication. And probably that's why have been seeing a little bit of shift and in the way that I am communicating about the podcast, but as well about my expertise, because as well I have been giving that voice to others. I am giving this voice to myself, talking about my expertise and talking about what is happening and how I can continue give value for people actually to understand what is happening. So now where to put my energy, that end up being something that really give me the clarity. And I have been using the Power Wheel. That is the tool that I have been sharing with you lately. And this system really keeps me my wheel rolling forwards, and even on my dog days. And this is something that have been happening to me, and I wanted to share that with you. So, coming a little bit more about the power wheel and how we can focus the power wheel, especially one of the steps or the parts of the wheels is related with communication and events. So, what I am doing right now is trying to explain to you each of the steps and how you can apply it into your communication to have this clarity. And today I want to talk specifically about communication and events, and you will see why at the end. So this week, I really want to go deeper into this session because I consider that there is a part that keep you visible, actually beyond just LinkedIn. That is the case right now. What is happening is I think a lot of us, including myself, have been feeling a bit like, well, if LinkedIn now is not working in the way that we have been the experience before, so how we are going to manage that? And this is the piece that most executives and founders are ignoring right now. So for me, what is the mistake actually? I see all the time, most of the leaders are treating LinkedIn as their entire communication strategy. So they post, they are there, they comment. That is basically what we all learned about how to be part of LinkedIn, how to really belong and build our communities. But when the algorithm changed, our visibility really collapsed. So instead, communication and events, that is this part of the power wheel, is about showing up kind of a predictable way in more than one way. So one home base for depth, I am going to put in an example, the podcast, the newsletters, where your messages really are going to be there, and probably not having only one distribution channel. So LinkedIn is great. It's an amazing distribution channel, but actually that should be not just our home. So we need to do this real time touch point. So this is when I am referring to communications and events, having this touch point like a live talk, I don't know, a meeting with someone, an event where you can go and have a conversation with people, actually about the things that are happening, how you can add value live. The face-to-face relationships are for me something that have a lot of value. And now that we can do it all around us, I think that that needs to be part of this power wheel. And that's why communication and events is playing this big role here. So when you do this, your message really are connected what the people see on LinkedIn or any platform, if you have an Instagram or TikTok or the platform that really suits you well. Then the people see you in the live, and that networking that you are building is connected, and that's why it's so important the message have a strategy behind, right? Because what you are communicating on LinkedIn, and then when you start to do this communication outside of the online platforms, so how are you do that? Do you really have the strategy behind that? Do you have the clarity? So all those points or touch points are very important to make these things happen. So for example, let's talk about newsletters. Newsletters become post, right? I have been doing that. I create a story. I really make the people get connected with the newsletters, and people are commenting all the things, even more in the newsletters than even in the post. So we have different ways to communicate. We have the video, we have the newsletter, we have our own websites as well. We have this social points or networking that we are doing. So all the communication and events that we are putting outside is really making a huge difference, because what we are doing and our main purpose is building trust. So this is what I say, don't build your house on rented land. And when I say that, is, sometimes what we are using social media is giving us a lot of exposure. And I have been part of that. But as well, building your house on rented land, at any time, you can just be removed, or you can be asked to get this property back. So you need to build something with your own voice, with your own clarity, and with your own consistency as well. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is all the communication and event that is part of the power wheel is just one spoke of the power wheel that have six. So if you see, is all the things together that make the wheel rounded, that are making this momentum. Because if one is flat, the whole wheel really are going to be not working well, right? So let me give you another examples. One of those that I explained in the last episode and in the last newsletter is strategy and growth. So I'm going to give you an example with a client. They told me, they was telling me and explaining me, well, I post all the time, and happen I'm posting and no one is understanding what I do at the end. And that made me realize the importance of really get connection and planning in this communication. So this strategy needs to be really planned, and the reason why we plan that is because we need the clarity to deliver a consistent and clear message, of course, because if that doesn't happen, then we are going to put information outside that is going to make the contrary effect. So it's going to confuse. is going to confuse our audiences. The other part of the power wheel, and I am going just to give a little summary why each of those steps is important to keep it in mind, that is business development and sales. So business development and sales are part of that, and probably if you are watching this or watching me and or listening, you are thinking about why should I be in charge of business development and sales. And happen that we are already a constant sellers, because in the moment that we are going to a networking event, for example, we are delivering information that are in certain ways selling ourselves, selling an impression to other people, selling an opportunity, be able to receive an offer, be able to be open to new possibilities. So let's say the business development and sales is what I call this part of the power wheel that we need to keep in mind that at the end we are doing all the time. So, for example, when clients had engagement probably on the LinkedIn post, but they realized that nobody is really contacting them for business, probably there is something to check in their communication, in the clarity and the strategy behind that. Because if we are not focused on that we need to sell something, we are going to be focused in be perceived as the expert that we are, right? So if we have a profession and we want it to be perceived as a part of that industry, we are not going to deliver messages that are not accordingly with this communication. So all these kind of alignments is the alignment that I always propose into the power wheel that we are able to check step by step in order to really give that clarity. So another of the things that I am talking in the power wheel is when we are creating the brand and putting a story behind this brand. When we are building a product behind the story of this brand, basically people are buying the story. They are not buying actually the feature of your product. They are buying the solutions. And when clients are pitching in the way that they don't deliver the clear message because they don't have the clarity in what are the product that they have. Some clients have been coming to me and saying, no, yeah, I am doing X or Y, and happen that that end up being not a product. So when they deliver what they are doing, people don't understand what is their product. So what we are doing is working in building this product with clarity in order to get attached to the story behind that, the brand creation of the story. If it is a personal brand, for example, everybody have a story, and that story end up being the reason why these people normally create the products, or at least a part of my clients. So if we are delivering a solution and suddenly actually people are starting to deliver clarity in their products, people start to feeling identify. Maybe they was there before and now they wanted to go where you are. So people needs to have these examples of a story of life in order for them to fit into the product that you are offering. Another of the steps of the power wheel is performance and engagement. And when I'm talking about that is about tracking results, not just impressions, but actually realizing that you are playing the wrong game if you are not really seeing what is happening. What are the numbers? What are the people reactions in front of the things that you are putting outside? So one of our clients, their profile was really have a low visit because that was not very well elaborate. Let's say it was having not clarity. So all the calls that that person was receiving was even asking for different things related with something that they was not planning to inform. So that's what changed the focus of our communication and really reflect what we want, what we are able to deliver, and having the clarity. And is I was having a conversation with one of my clients recently to talk about what are the services that that person was selling outside. And at the end, sometimes we are selling solutions that are very difficult to define with a name, right? So putting this name to that product. But once we attach that with the purpose that we have, for example, if we wanted to sell a service or if we wanted to sell a product, of course, the paths are different, but then we are having the opportunity to align that, base it in the strategy and the clarity on this communication. Another part of the wheel is the branding and the visual identity. And this is part of the whole, as I have been saying always, because branding is something that can fit into this wheel and fit very well because it's the way that the people are perceiving you, aesthetically speaking. How are you visual outside? How are you showing yourself? What is the way that you are communicating? Even, the way that you are writing and how you are managing your brand is not just the visuals. It's part of the identity. So if you are managing your brand, your personal brand, this is attached in the way that you write an email, the way that you behave with peers, the way that you behave with your friends, the way that you behave with your family. So your brand is outside all the time. And this actually is part of what is helping you to give momentum to this wheel. Because if there is a things that are not aligning with the other parts of the wheel, then we arrive to the flat wheel. So basically, I have to admit that one of my clients, she was a little bit embarrassed to share her website, and the reason why it was because it was not aligned with what she wanted to show. So she told me, well, somebody externally did the website for me, and we never planned. I mean, this person just put the information of my products and my services, but we really haven't had the time to align that with time and with connected with the strategy and the clarity. Some people are making the website and forgetting that the website exists. So that is connected with your brand. The website is connected. So the people end up arriving to the website even because different channels that end up connecting you with that. Probably is not the post today, is something that someone said. So it's very important to have that aligned and aligned visually as well. I'm talking about here the visual brand. What is happening is up to date. Since when you are not visiting your website because you did it, I don't know, 2 years ago, and you never came back to that. So that is removing something that is very important in a relationship. And this is the trust. So be careful with that. And I always recommend to people to give a check to that is part of this area in the will. So it's very important to align that and include it and do time to time revisions that this is something up to date, that the links are working. It's very important. I have had experiences in where people are doing entire campaigns and trying to attract people. And when you wanted to connect with the website are dead, is not really working. So that end up being a wrong experience with the client, and that end up in a not successful relationship. So the momentum is gone. So coming a little bit back of what I was mentioning at the beginning, that I heard about this peer that was celebrating the 1,000 episodes and how I was focused in these little things in life. So I wanted to really bring this story that inspired me. And having seen how this person have been sharing the arriving to the 1,000 episodes and all the learnings, of course, can you imagine having the learnings? If I was a bit struggle sharing the learnings of the 100 episodes, sharing the learnings of a 1,000 episodes could be something quite special, right? But in that sense is showing how years after years and week after week, in that kind of reflection, that person was saying how these little things really matter. And that is true. I have had a conversation recently, and that person was telling me, is I know that I cannot change the world. And probably that is true, but I was saying, yeah, but if we just stay thinking that we cannot change the world, probably we are not going to do anything to make the world change. But if every day we do small things, even if those are little things, because sometimes I have to confess, sometimes I'm feeling a little bit frustrated because I see that I am not having this big change. Um, I'm feeling a little bit like the duck, coming back to what I explained at the beginning. And sometimes these little things are really making a big change. And actually, this is something that I use to share, and is the process that, and I am going to do an analogy here. And the analogy is related with the airplanes. If you see how the airplanes are arriving to their destination, they are going from the same point, but little shifts are always making you arrive to that destination. So I always see that analogy like a part of the process that I am living, probably the process that you are living as well. And think about that, because sometimes frustration is coming because you don't see a big shift. And I am putting the example of the plane, and I am saying, the plane is not giving like the big wheel shift. This is little things that are happening there. And I will love you to take this as a part of the learnings of this episode. So try to get it all these little things to you. Get it every day, something in which you can feel grateful about, that you have done well, and that have been adding value to this changing the world purpose that I was referring in my conversation during this weekend. So those little things, repeated, build this authority that no algorithm can take away. So be in mind with the things that you are doing every day. And I think that that is a little bit the secret. The strategy, yes, is important, but it is the small, consistent actions that actually build this trust and this relationship. So let's do and start to wrap up this with some takeaways and tools that I wanted to share with you. And let's bring this back to you. So if LinkedIn has felt slow lately, as I was explaining, here's what I want you to do this month. And I am just proposing you this. That is more or less what I am doing and what I am as well advising some of my clients doing, and it's something that is working. So stop chasing impressions. We all are, and I have been even reading a lot of posts of people. Well, look, I'm so glad that I have 25 impressions after having 2,000, and that is happening. I mean, it's real. So actually, go to your profile and give and measure different things. So measure, for example, how many people are visiting your profile, how many new followers you are having, how many replies to your messages, and how many conversations you are creating. Because as I explained at the beginning, creating this value, creating this conversation is actually what LinkedIn is looking for. So before, LinkedIn was focused more in moving all the employment atmosphere, and people looking for a job was active on LinkedIn. Now their purpose is looking to connect, to make people do businesses. And if you see the amount of people on LinkedIn, you really believe that this is something that is very potential. So we need to really start using it in the right way. So my invitation, start conversation. Commenting is so important on LinkedIn, but commenting from your heart, not commenting like, yeah, thank you. Good. Thank you for sharing. Well, these kind of comments are not the best comments that you can do on LinkedIn. So establish conversation, create this trust, but sincerely, from the bottom of your heart, not just to try to put it content outside, because I have been always as well talking about the invisible brand and all the things that you are feeling, and your invisible brand, invisible energy. I think people can feel it as well. Sometimes you receive an email and you feel something. uh, Believe me, that is true. That is something that is happening. So the energy that you put to things needs to be something that the people are catching, are realizing that you are there, that you really want to add value, that you really wanted to be part of this conversation. So the other thing that I am recommending is build your home base. So in my case, I have the Brilliantly Branded podcast. I am in different platforms. You can find me as a video podcast. So if tomorrow LinkedIn disappear, I have another different resources that people can find me. So try to build yours. What is going to be yours? Maybe your website, maybe the newsletters of your website, maybe the email marketing that you have behind that, or even, you know what, your network, your friends, your acquaintance, the people that you are normally going to have a chat, the people, the networks that you are frequently there, the groups that you are part of. So I encourage you to continue growing that, because that is going to be actually something that nobody is going to take away from us. I invite you as well to try to post at least once per week on LinkedIn. And I'm coming to that because even though LinkedIn have been changing, that doesn't mean that is not there. So for me, it's important, especially in terms of your purpose. If your purpose is let the people know who you are and get the clarity about your message, use LinkedIn at least once per week. The problem with LinkedIn is a platform that is full of people there, but not many people active. So the ones that we, like me, we are generating content, but people as well needs to generate content in order to give the value and to be perceived as the authority that they are. So please try to include that, but include that not just from the, okay, Monday morning. And I always repeat that because that have been the case with some of my clients, and they are sometimes sitting in front of the computer Monday morning in front of LinkedIn and say, okay, what I am going to talk about today. And this is a big mistake, because if you don't plan, you will not be able to deliver first a consistent message, but most importantly, clarity in your message. And all of these are connected, coming back to the power wheel, to the different parts of the wheel. So the communication and events. What are you going to say in an event? How are you going to connect that with what you post online? How are you going to make that looks connected with your website? How are you going to measure that? And how are you going to see what the people want and need? You know, I have been seeing products that have been created based on what the market need, and not what do you think that the market need. Part of the things that I want you to ask to yourself, you can put it even some sticky notes or something like that. And part of this question is, what is this message that you want to be remembered for? And this is related with the reputation and related with many of the things that I have been talking when I'm talking about branding and communication. But that is how we really keep moving forward, even when the feed is not showing us to everyone. We are going to have this clarity in what we are going to deliver as a message, and will be probably be very aligned with how the people are perceiving us. So, closing this episode, if you want a structure while you do this, I have created 3 ways for you to do it in an easy way. So, one thing that you can do, you can download the free Power Wheel, that is a PDF in where you are going to do a process. You are going to have each of those steps that I have been explaining in the Power Wheel, and you are going to score from 0 to 10 where you are. So you are going to be able to see where you are stuck right now and how you can improve that. So you can use that. It's a resource. It's on the brilliantlybranded.com website. You can download it, or you can send me a message on LinkedIn and I can send it to you, the PDF. So feel free to use it, because it's a free tool that is going to help you a lot. The other thing is the Brilliantly Branded Academy. The Brilliantly Branded Academy is something that we have been creating more for B2C business to consumers in order for them to understand how they can start to build their brand. So I started the Brilliant Academy with only one course for the moment that is called a Brilliant from Within, and in which you are going to learn how from inside of us are many things that we can use to build this clarity and consistency based in many different things that are building the roots that will allow you to become brilliant from within, actually will helping you to build your roots, the foundation for you to grow, because part of my purpose in life as well is empowerment and growing together, growing in community and feeling the sense of belonging. The other thing that you can do is book a discovery call with me. And if you're ready for have this direct support, we can talk about your score in the Power Wheel and we can build a plan together. So I am working with people one-to-one as well, helping them to build this strategy. And what I am doing actually is not concretely marketing, branding, communication. What I am working on is giving to you the clarity and the strategy and the steps about how to follow that. That is having the map to get it into the forest. So the difference in this case, if you book this call with me, you will be paddling, as my example of the dog, with a system and not just burning your energy. That is something that will end up being very frustrating for you. So as I have been always saying, your expertise deserves to be seen, to be trusted, and remembered. Don't leave that up to just one channel, in that case, LinkedIn. So thank you for listening to this episode. I'm really, really very happy that you take the time to listen to this, to learn, to put in practice. I'm going to be going deeper in the topic about the Power Wheel. Give a check to the newsletter, give a check to the podcast. Other guests are coming. And for me, it's important that all the things that I am putting here for you, all the tools, all the free tools you can access, this is actually following my purpose of empowerment and giving a hand. Giving a hand is basically giving the tools for you to get ready to be this person of influence that we know already you are. So thank you for being here. Hope to having you as a listener in the next episode. And very happy to share this time with you. Until the next episode. Ciao, ciao. I'm grateful by having you as a listener on this episode. I am in the mission of empowering thousands of women around the globe, and I need your support for that. Help me to spread the voice by sharing this episode and subscribe to our social media channels. And remember, if you want to listen to exceptional stories and have someone that inspires you, please get in touch with me, because I will love to have them as a guest to learn from their experience and share their story with you next time. So until the next episode, ciao, ciao.